UFC 314 is going down this weekend, and one of the most anticipated fights on the main card is none other than Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. And look, there's a lot of people saying different things about this fight. A lot of people don't like Paddy and are favoring Michael Chandler to win. Before I even go into who I think is going to win, I'll just start off by saying Paddy Pimblett is good for the UFC and he has to win this fight. Michael Chandler has been sitting at the top of the division for the longest. I don't know exactly what he's ranked. He might have dropped down the rankings in recent times, but for a while he definitely was at the top of the division, even though he was losing the most important fights in his career. I mean, he beat Dan Hooker, fair enough, but then you beat Tony Ferguson. I mean, that's not really a win that should be looked at as worth anything, right? And so we need someone like Paddy to kind of just come in and just change it up, take the old guards out of the equation. Let's bring in the new kids let's bring in the new dogs, right? He is the new dog, Paddy Pimblett. And he has star value. He has the kind of star value that the UFC needs right now. And he has to win this fight. I mean, for UK MMA, if nothing else, right? I mean, we had Leon Edwards. Look what happened to him. I mean, we got Tom Aspinall, but Paddy Pimblett, I think, is just that much more popular than someone like Tom Aspinall and Leon Edwards as well. Leon Edwards wasn't really popular at all. He had his 2 minutes of fame from the headshot KO, headshot dead, headshot knockout, whatever it was, and now he's just disappeared into irrelevance, it seems. But he has to win. Now, who do I think is going to win? Like, there's a lot of people picking Chandler because they think he's going to knock out Paddy, and that's not a bad take to have. You're going skill for skill. That makes sense. Paddy is not defensively aware. He takes big shots. You could see him getting KO'd by Michael Chandler. But even if I grant that argument, even if I say let's look at it skill for skill, Michael Chandler has only really knocked out Dan Hooker in recent memory. He knocked out Ferguson, but it was with a head kick, front kick to the chin of Tony Ferguson. I don't think he's going to front kick Paddy Pimblett to the chin. Not to mention, Paddy Pimblett isn't Tony Ferguson. He's not old and washed and taking a lot of damage, right? It's just not the same, right? So even then, it's like the argument doesn't really hold. But there are a couple of other layers that I want to kind of unravel in why I'm going with Paddy Pimblett for this fight. First of all, you have to kind of favor consistent winning over consistent losing, right? Chandler, while he's lost to the best in the division, and Paddy Pimblett has only really beaten like the absolute bombs of the division, you still have to favor the hunger and just the consistent winning from Paddy. There's like a mental edge it's gonna give him going into the fight. His confidence is gonna be higher, I would argue, than Michael Chandler's, and that makes all the difference in a fight. It kind of reminds me of, and maybe it's not the most apt comparison because I think I was going to talk about Imavov versus Adesanya. Imavov did have a couple of losses uh, in his UFC career before he fought Adesanya, but I do believe he was on a slightly longer win streak than Adesanya was going into that fight. Adesanya was, I think, 1-2. I might be wrong. We can probably fact check that as well. But the point is, Adesanya had come off of some of the highest moments in his career and then had a couple of big losses. Michael Chandler's kind of like in that position. He's beat Hooker and Ferguson, but where it really mattered, he just lost. And I think that's going to play against the mental frame of mind of someone like Michael Chandler. That's number one. You got to favor the consistent winning. Number two, a lot of people are saying Oliveira couldn't submit Chandler. And how is Paddy going to submit him if Oliveira couldn't submit? First of all, I disagree with the notion that Paddy is probably like that. I don't think Paddy is that far off from the skill set of Oliveira. Like, I think, like, on the ground anyway, like once it gets to the ground. I just disagree with that, right? I mean, if you look at like Oliveira, like he relies on you know even if you look at it, just the grappling aspect. I don't want to go too much into it, but some of the submissions that he ends up pulling off is pulled off because it's opened up by the striking. He'll hurt Gagey. He'll he'll knock him down with the straight right, send him to the canvas, and then he'll jump on his back, right? That kind of thing, right? It's not like he's out scrambling them from the get go consistently, right? That's just a side point, but I just disagree with the fact that just because Oliveira couldn't submit Chandler, that therefore Paddy couldn't. Poirier submitted Chandler, right? If Chandler had fought, I think Poirier had fought Chandler after Oliveira did. Um, sorry, he fought him before the rematch between Chandler and Oliveira. But say Oliveira had the rematch with Chandler first, I don't think a lot of people would have gone into that fight with Poirier and Chandler and said, "Oh, or that there's a chance of Poirier submitting Chandler." Everyone would have been like, "You're crazy. Oliveira couldn't do it. There's no way Poirier is going to do it." But look, he pulled it off, right? Every fight's a different fight, and you have to favor this younger guy in Paddy Pimblett. He's to be able to pull off something like that. It just makes sense, right? He's got all the confidence. He's got the win streak coming into it, right? He's younger. He's fresh. He's not going to do dumb IQ moves like Michael Chandler does in every single one of his fights. And I think that's the other point that I want to make. Michael Chandler just consistently makes bad moves, and people say, you know, uh, it's a case of does okay. You can the decision making of Chandler isn't something that's like it's not like it's a physical attribute that he's limited by, like, oh, someone just doesn't have enough power. You can't really change that, right? Sure, you could stop making stupid decisions, and there are some people within this space saying Michael Chandler is going to be confident going into this fight, thinking he can knock out someone like Paddy Pimblett. But I fundamentally disagree with the notion that all of a sudden someone's just going to just change the way they fight at 39, 38 years of age when they've been fighting this way their whole career. Chandler is a bit of a cheat. Maybe that is, maybe he'll win that way, right? Couple of maybe, fish hooks, TKO by fish hook. Maybe we might see something like that. The first fish hook TKO in the UFC. We'll see. But I think the first 2 points are really the kind of main argument that I'm presenting to you guys, right? It's the consistent winning, um, and it's the idea that Paddy Pimblett is actually a competent guy on the ground. Just because Oliveira couldn't submit Chandler doesn't mean no one else can submit Michael Chandler. It's a ridiculous idea, right? So I think Paddy Pimblett is more than capable of submitting someone like Michael Chandler. Now, the other thing I'm going to say as well is, and I know people have also been saying that Paddy probably, even if he ends up submitting Chandler, it'll be because he hurts him and then gets on the back, or if Michael Chandler initiates a grappling exchange and then Paddy Pimblett will jump on Chandler or try and kind of snake out of certain positions and get to a favorable one. I think Paddy Pimblett could probably even just try and wrestle with Chandler, and just kind of climb to that back of Chandler, right? If Oliveira is able to kind of take you down, I think Paddy Pimblett can do that as well. To be honest with you, Paddy Pimblett is a big boy, right? I think he's stronger than what people give him credit for. I think he's a strong guy, right? Guy walks around like 210 pounds, or whatever it is, eating all those burgers. I mean, he's got that big burger boy strength, and I think that's going to help him kind of take down or kind of be competent in the wrestling against someone like Chandler. I just think he will be. He's going to find the opportunity to be a snake and grab onto Michael Chandler and try and find a submission, lock in a submission. So we'll see if that happens. That's my 2 cents. I think Paddy Pimblett will win. He needs to win. It's better for the UFC. You can't deny that. But let me know what you guys think.